Hello and welcome back to the ESC Championship LAN stream. We are going to give you the losers finals up here against NEU and Miami, Ohio. I am Wyatt, aka Libby Baby.
I am Turner. Oh, sorry. I am Turner, also Spooky, and I forgot you introduced me.
Yes, by the way, my name is not Lucas Moody. That would be another Ball State caster.
Yeah.
But that is okay.
You're Lucas today.
I am Lucas today.
You're Lucas, also known as Libby Baby.
Yes, I am Lucas, also known as Libby Baby. That is what we are. But
yeah,
we do have the losers finals, Miami, Ohio versus NEU. That's going to be a pretty exciting match. We did see on the other stream on Miami, Ohio switch earlier, NEU versus Ball State, where Ball State did qualify for the grand finals, and that sent NEU down to the losers bracket. Whoever wins this one will play Ball State in the grand finals tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Miami is up against an absolute titan. I know I've been using that word a lot, especially between Ball State and NEU. But if Miami is able to take this one over top of NEU, that is going to be an absolute showing for the grand finals, because if any team is able to take out NEU for that finals round, it's going to be an incredible sight to see. But if Miami's going to do it, they're going to have to fight very hard against the team of NEU, because right now there hasn't been another team to shut down any of NEU except for the one round of BGSU, I believe. I don't know if anybody, if NEU has actually gone through any games where it hasn't been 3-0.
Yeah, besides the games that they have lost entirely, I'm not sure if they have any game they won. I think it'd be a sweep.
I can actually pull up the bracket. I do have that. I can check.
While he's pulling up the bracket, I do guess we can talk about the thing that I forgot I was going to say. What was I going to talk about while we are waiting to get? Oh yes, Miami, Ohio, definitely the underdogs in this situation. NEU is the 2nd seed, and Miami, Ohio came into this tournament as the 5th seed. We are actually going to go to the bracket.
I could have just asked for that. I don't know what I was doing. Yeah,
it's been a long day of streams.
We could just check. Yeah, okay. So NEU 3-0, 3-0. Lost to Ball State 3-1. So yeah, other than the one time BGSU took one map over top of NEU, and other than Ball State themselves, NEU has gone relatively undefeated compared to all of the other teams. Miami Esports is the team to clash against them right now, and while they did have a close bout up against Kent State, Miami, the number 5 seed, actually breaking the mold and, you know, reversing what the expectations were against Kent Esports. So if anybody's going to do it, I think Miami's got a chance, because they took down the number 3 seed. All you got to do right now is take down the number 2 and then work your way up to the number 1 seed for the grand finals tomorrow on Sunday.
Yeah, Miami, as I was saying, definitely the underdogs in this situation. Obviously, they're the 5th seed going up against the 2nd seed of NEU. NEU, a very good team. Is it possible that Miami can beat them? Of course it is. Pretty much anything is possible if they lock and catch NEU off guard. Miami has played a lot of games today compared to NEU only have playing one so far. I think that Miami could be the ones to maybe take down NEU and try to give Ball State a run for the money in the grand finals, which then they would be the ultimate underdogs, the number 5 seed against the number 1 seed. It would be very difficult for them to take down Ball State Esports, but I mean, like I said, anything is possible.
Yeah,
but they have to get it past NEU first.
True, and Ball State still completely undefeated as they have gone on, not only in the season, but in the bracket itself. Ball State has not lost a game this season at all, and has moved on to the grand. So it is possible that Ball State could get that perfect season, although NEU or Miami could be the ones to take it away from them. I know NEU at this point is now, I think, something close to like 14-2 is their record, and Miami Esports, what is their record? Their 5th seed. I think they were 7-5. So going into this, let's see, Miami lost to BSU, won against BGSU, and then won against Kent. So I think they are 10 or 9, or no, yeah, it'd be 9 and I think 6 Yeah, they should be. I think my math is right. They should be 9-6 right now in total, going up against NEU. So right now they are clashing against again a bit of a titan, but I think Miami Esports has got the passion to do it right now, and they are one of the only three teams still in this bracket overall.
Yes, they are. If they do lose, they were officially, third
Yeah,
overall at the end of the day. They're on home turf. They're in a place they're comfortable with. We are at Miami, the University of Miami, Ohio today. So they are at their home turf. They are playing where they played all their practices and all their times before. So they are in the ideal conditions of if they were to beat NEU, they have the ability to do that. I think with the conditions that have been set up today, they have played so well throughout the tournament. I mean, obviously they did lose to Ball State in the winter semifinal, but Ball State was the number one seed. It's kind of expected. So what can Miami Ohio bring to NEU? Not sure yet, but I am excited to see that because it would be amazing to see Miami Ohio take down NEU. I think it would be such an amazing storyline, and I'm a person who loves a storyline.
yeah,
So I would love to see a grand finals against Ball State Miami when everyone was expecting it to be Ball State NEU. I think
yeah.
that's kind of been the consensus throughout the weekend.
I mean, you can see in the bracket as well. There's a button if you go online and look at the bracket itself. There's a show predicted, and it just kind of followed the seeding because that's kind of how it does its predictions. It just excuse me, sorry, follows the highest seed, lowest seed, and then puts them up against each other basically. So when it come down to it, it showed that NEU would fight Ball State in the grands. But right now, Miami has broken the mold a bit as they defeated Kent. So right now, Miami does have a shot at that grand final spot, and they've got to fight against NEU for it. But all they need to do is beat this one final team, and they are into the grands themselves. But can they do it is the question. I'm sure NEU is definitely not going to give that spot up
Oh
easily,
yeah.
and Miami is going to have to fight.
Yes, and honestly, for Miami, I think that in their situation, I think Miami is in a win-win situation either way. Even if they do lose to NEU, which would be upsetting, they still I think they still performed almost better than what could have been expected, given their seed, given where they
Yeah,
entered in. And if they beat NEU, that's an amazing story. Even if they lose to Ball State tomorrow, I mean, that's the number one versus number five seed.
yeah.
So either way, Miami, they have done what they needed to do, and I think that they have put themselves in this position, and that is something alone to be proud of.
Yeah. I mean, you come into this tournament and the scales are weighed against you basically. You have so many higher seeds. The first team that you have to play against being Ball State is just such a hard thing to fight against because Ball State undefeated going into this and right now still undefeated as it has stood. So, being that first team to fight against Ball State as they had the bye is really rough and more like mentally that's got to be tough to push past
Yeah.
and continue on. But they've gotten to this point. So has NEU. They did end up losing to Ball State to be down here in the losers bracket. But I think both of them are fighting for good reasons. They've got to just keep the mental going for one more game into the grands, and then they get one whole day of a break and a relaxation to come back into it tomorrow. And I think that's just what we're waiting for and getting ready to do.
Yeah, definitely. It is a mental strain. Just like these LAN events in general. Any LAN event is a bit mentally straining. Miami is lucky that it is on their home turf, but just like people like NEU, people like any of these schools that have had to really climb through. It's a lot of games, and
Yeah.
even though it is a video game, obviously, but this is it's not just casual gaming. You are thinking. You are exhausted. I mean, Miami just went through a 3-2 game against Kent State. That is exhausting to play that game.
Yeah.
Like obviously, you're not physically running or moving, but mentally, that is so exhausting to go 3-2 in Overwatch, 5 full games. I mean, that is
I don't it wasn't a revert. I don't think it wow, okay, and we're getting word it's Li
it's
Jiang Ta
Legion Tower
again.
again.
So, yeah, but like you were saying, you're going into that and having to fight such a hard battle because it was the Kent State, it went to game 5. It was tied up 2-2 and they took it. They were able to fight against the Kent State team and overcome that challenge. They've just got to overcome one more and then they get a break and then they've got the final challenge to overcome. And that applies to both of these teams. And as we go ahead and get ready to get into Lijiang Tower, I'm just wondering how these teams are prepped and ready to go and what is going through their minds. But as we are not them and don't have, unfortunately, any communication with them, we have no way to answer that question. But as to be expected, I hope that their mental is staying strong and that they're going into this game with high hopes because it's not over just yet. You've got to fight a Titan. But as the story of David and Goliath goes, I think there's always the underdog to look out for.
I do love an underdog story. I mean, who doesn't love an underdog story? And Miami coming into this as the underdog, on their home turf, they have a whole crowd out there supporting. It's going to support them no matter what. They all know those guys, which is very wholesome to see. Huge going crazy every time Miami makes a play, every time Miami wins a match. It's very fun to see out there. I've been sitting out there a while today, waiting to get to the streams, but it's been a fun day. But yeah, let's just see what these two teams can do. It's going to be a struggle for either one because you have Miami, who has just fought so much, and you a little bit less, but still had to go against Ball State earlier. That's a big match, and 4 close games against Ball State. So as I do think we are going to get into game here, let's look what we're going to see for some team comps.
Yeah, we will go ahead and get that decided from Northeastern. We're seeing Frisco on that Ramatra like usual. From Miami, though, we're seeing a different thing. Oh, no, never mind. Ramatra's coming out instead. From Hedwig, we're seeing that Sojourn, the Duckland, still on Genji, Shiro, and QG Hop on that Lucio Juno action. From the rest of Miami, we see on going for that Symmetra rollout. Shocker not too far behind with Sojourn. And then from Nitrous Oxide and Killian, we're seeing the Brig Juno. So if anybody's got a chance to beat a brawl, I think it's going to be this team comp. And good luck to both of these teams.
Yes, definitely good luck. Seeing a lot of Ramatra today, which is surprising. Getting into a very quick team fight here. Ramatra one-on-one, just battling it out here straight with the staff, seeing what they can do. Gonna kind of walk past, go to the back line as we cut to On here, doing a little bit of poke damage with the Genji, holding back as well as his Duckland, trying to maybe back up his tank, help him get some damage, but he is being rushed by the enemy Ramatra. Hedwig gonna come in here, maybe try to get some damage. Shocker very low on HP, but does get healed, thankfully for him. Miami, Ohio, a little low on HP in general. They're gonna maybe want to back up here, trying to get a little bit more health. Nitrous Oxide doing a good job on that. Juno keeping his team alive. Hedwig very low, does fall to On. So
yeah, finally, the first hit comes out here. Frisco still trying to battle out against the Miami team right now, but Miami is up a player in general. Can they keep the streak going? On takes out a second one. Hooter Scooter not far behind on Shiro. Can they keep the motivation and the momentum going? I think they're going to do so as Miami seems to get the first team fight going. Frisco does take one out on the way down, but as On does have that Genji to get back to point relatively fast, and Miami now slowly building up their momentum and their percentage on the point. I think Miami is in a good spot already to try and take down Northeastern.
Miami is motivated. They have good mental. They just played a hard match of Overwatch. They know they're at their home turf. They have managed to get first cap on the Titan that is at Northeastern. Can they keep up this momentum? That's a good start there. Getting that pick onto the Genji as the Annihilation comes out from Frisco of Northeastern. Maybe going to try and get a cap here. Shocker manages to pick off Shiro. So it is still going very much in the favor of Miami, Ohio. They're holding back Northeastern's push right now, even though Frisco got that Annihilation off. It's looking like Miami, Ohio are going to be able to hold this cap for a little bit longer as they are forcing Northeastern to regroup.
Yeah, this is fantastic plays from Miami. They're holding down Northeastern basically by the neck. And we see both overclocks come out from either side. Right now we see Hedwig and Shocker battling it out. Shocker able to take the first blow onto Shiro. Hedwig responding onto Shocker. Duckland takes one out onto On. The blade and the rally as well as the Annihilation comes out. Is anything going to happen here? Duckland able to take down Killian early on. The Annihilation still not able to make too much happen here as they try to go for the block. Duckland now trying to fight off. We see Hedwig take one down as well as Frisco. And there is the Northeastern push onto point. Miami gets a clean 71%, but Northeastern able to take that point back finally.
So that is good for Miami that they were able to cap to at 71%. So if they win this next team fight, they will have an advantage. They will only need to get 30 more percent to win this first point here. So Northeastern, they're going to want to hold this. They're going to want to try to get at least past 70 here. That's going to be their goal for this game so far. As we see another blade coming out from On, seeing what he's going to do with it. Oh, gets the tank so low, but does fall. Frisco does eventually fall too. Cooter Scooter as Nitrous Oxide takes out Duckland as well. Looks like Northeastern going to do their best to hold it, but it looks like Miami is going to get the cap back for now at least.
That's really good because while they are fighting this fight, they are going to be able to keep building up percentage, which is what Miami wants in this situation. They've got to keep holding the point in their favor, even while they're fighting this. And as our TV turns off once again, and we got to try and get back into the action as it turns back on, we're a little blind as to what's going on right now, but I'm going to keep calling this as it comes out. I hear one overclock as well as the orbit come out, so we're not too blind as we hear the voice line. Has anything happened? We see one overclock. Northeastern Sojourn is able to find one. The Annihilation does come out as well. Shocker finds one. Hedwig finds one. Frisco finds one. So does Duckman. Frisco finds two. And Northeastern takes the point back in overtime. But Miami University only needs one more team fight win to take point one.
Yes, Miami University 99% to Northeastern's 40. This is great from Miami, Ohio. They need just one more team fight win. One more, that's all they need, and they surely will get this point capped, and they will win at least a point off of Northeastern. It won't be a total roll at least. So they are coming out of the box swinging right now. Let's see if they can keep this up.
Yeah, they've got to keep the pressure on. We see Miami slowly separate out the Northeastern team. They just got to focus down one. Duckland is able to take one down on a shocker. That blade out of their back pocket sooner rather than later. Pooter Scooter responds on a Shiro. Killian and Nitrous Oxide are accidentally off the map, but Scooter Scooter still finds another one. Unfortunately, is going to regroup by jumping off as well, hoping to negate as much ult charge from the Northeastern side as possible. Miami does have that rally behind them, as well as Annihilation coming up soon. All Northeastern has to respond is Blade and Orbit coming up from QG Hops sooner rather than later. Let's see what they can do if they push to make their final attempt on this point.
Personally, if I had to pick a vault, I would take that Briggle and Annihilation combo over the Northeastern's combo personally. I think that is just so much more capability of doing damage as we get into what could be the final team fight here. Looks like it's going to be total chaos as the blade comes out, as well as the Annihilation. We hear the Briggle in the background as well. Northeastern still holding that orbit. Are they going to use it? Yes, they do use it. They have gotten 3. On manages to pick off Frisco. Northeastern down a tank. That is very bad for them, but it looks like they are going to be able to get this first cap. Even though Miami, Ohio came out swinging, Northeastern still manages to get 1 point off.
That's unfortunate. The Annihilation and the rally just didn't go in their favor. By the time both were popped, Miami University's players were just too low on health to respond, and there was not enough healing coming in on those backlines, and the Genji was able to just use that to his advantage, use one swipe, one dash to take 2 out with 1 blow.
Yes, definitely. I think just not the perfect use of the Annihilation. Sally just couldn't get anything done with it. Northeastern had a better usage of their ults there, used it to kind of create space, force Miami off the point. So Miami, Ohio, they should not be down yet. They were very competitive against the number 2 seed school so far. What can they do maybe to counteract that? I think that they have a chance to maybe take this map from them if they kind of regroup a little bit here.
We see both sides going for the Sim teleport and then routing back around to very similar comps here. Frisco's got to back out just a little bit to get away from the Miami University team. Once again, who are very good on the assault. They already have point advantage in their favor. If they're just able to hold it for a little bit longer, they should start to build percentage in their favor. But we do see a lot of the Northeastern team going for these back plays, trying to go for a little bit of counters as Duckman finds 1, finds 2. Both of the supports of the Miami team are out and dusted. How will Miami respond? We see Frisco and QG Hop take 1 out apiece, and Duckman swipes in for the 3rd to take down Shocker. And Northeastern starts by taking the point in their favor.
Yeah, you lose your 2 supports off the bat of a team fight like that, it's going to be almost impossible to win. You just don't have the healing. Your tank is just a sitting duck, essentially. Just is not going to be getting the support he needs. So Miami's going to have to regroup here. They're going to have to try and protect those supports, keep those supports alive as much as they can, as we're already approaching the next team right here on. Crucially low, Frisco manages to get 2, gets a 3rd. Great stuff from Frisco already. He's going to, Scooter going to keep pushing out as far as, but he's going to fall as well. So total domination from Northeastern there.
Yeah, that was a good but unfortunate play for Miami. They just got rolled a little bit over there as they moved to try and push back to site. Although right now, that did, I believe, take both ults from Northeastern in that fight, or a little bit before it, I believe. Miami now still working towards their own as both sides are trying to clash against each other as much as they can. Northeastern, Frisco actually has almost Annihilation at this point compared to the 44% of Pooter Scooter's Annihilation themselves.
So let's see what's going to happen here. We just have the total domination mode. The Annihilation has come out from Frisco here. Pooter Scooter desperately low on HP. He's going to be backing up, but he is going to fall. Frisco manages also to take out Killian, and as well as Nitrous Oxide. Both supports of Miami, Ohio are down. Gets another one here. We are going to see the rail come out from Hedwig. A bit of a questionable rail. Didn't know if he really needed to use that. Is going to fall to the deflect up on. That's kind of a funny little animation there. I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
Yeah, and I also don't know what that ult was
Yeah, a
necessarily.
little
That
bit
would,
of a unnecessary.
I mean, it's you're going to start building it back up regardless. And as Northeastern now closes in on the 80% marker towards their point, Miami is going to have to try and respond somehow. We see one blade come out, two blade come out. Who's going to get the first kill? QG Hop gets one. Duckland finds one into On. Shiro finds one into Shocker. The blades are put away. Frisco gets one. And who is going to be last? Frisco picks up a double kill on the Booter Scooter, and Northeastern is going to take game number one.
It is looking like it's very much going to go the way of Northeastern. One thing I think what I noticed is Miami, Ohio, they came out swinging, captured the point, got it to 99 v 99. I think forcing NEU maybe to lock in a little bit, maybe being like, okay, maybe we're the second seed, maybe they're the fifth seed, but it's still a very competitive game and we have to take it seriously. Not saying they weren't taking it seriously, but we have to treat them as though they are our toughest opponent. So that is probably what we are seeing with a much less close.
Yeah, and Miami, definitely all credit to them, put up a fantastic fight on that first point, getting it to that 99 percentage. And while the second point was closer to 0 to 100 against their favor, it was well played in general from both sides. And while Miami definitely came out swinging, they definitely were not, again, and still aren't seeded to win this against NEU. They've just got to fight for it as much as they want. And I think they've got a chance because they took NEU to 99%. They forced them to try and basically try harder. You're forcing the number 2 seed, the only competitor really to Ball State, to lock in against you, which is credit to them. It means a lot going into that because it shows that Miami has a lot of fight in them and they have a lot backing them up, especially the crowd out there. I know their coaches are backing them up. As a team, they're backing each other up. They've just got to put in a little more effort in general just to beat the NEU because right now NEU is definitely trying their best to knock out Miami from this bracket.
Yeah, NEU, they don't want to lose this, knowing that they're the 2 seed, losing to the 5th seed, not going to the finals after all this, talk of, it's very much going to be thinking people it's going to be a Ball State NEU Grand Finals. They don't want to be the ones that made it so it wasn't a Ball State NEU Grand Finals and then it was a Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio very much would like to be that school to take out NEU. And I do think they can do it. Like you said, I mean, they got it to 99, be 99% against Northeastern, like we've said so many times, a titan in this tournament, in this league. And I think that they can win this. It is definitely winnable. They just, they need to find something. I don't know what it is, but they need to somehow find a way to just kind of combat Northeastern, maybe just lock in.
Yeah, and we are going. I think I heard Shimbali,
I heard that too.
which is I don't know if that's actually. I don't know if that's a hybrid.
I
I don't.
think it is.
Is it Shimbali Monastery?
Yeah, I think that's a hybrid. I don't know.
There, it's yeah, it is
Escort,
escort. Okay, I thought
escort.
that's what it
Yeah,
was. So we're not doing hybrid.
I haven't
Okay,
played Overwatch in a
so
while.
yeah, so that's one of the newer maps.
Yeah.
It came out a little while ago. It came out with the Ramatra update. So it's a little older, but one of the newer maps added to the pool in general. An interesting one. I've seen a lot of comps work on that map. I've seen Winston work. I've seen Diva work. I've seen Zarya work. Ramatra, obviously, Orisa. Most of the main tanks that you see in today's meta. Pretty high level gameplay from all of them. If you can play them well and find the comp that works, then it will work in your favor. You've just got to, again, it's a sandbox. You got to find what works. And against NEU, I just don't think that Miami necessarily has found the perfect counter against NEU yet. They definitely found something that was working. It did get them to 99% on the first point. So I think some of the swaps that we saw, didn't necessarily, or there weren't swaps, sorry. I don't necessarily think that keeping the same heroes was always the play because eventually once the ults came into action, we did see that NEU was able to start utilizing them a lot more, less frequent than we saw from the Miami team. We saw a lot more combo ults work together and a lot more ult fights in general where Miami was generally using more than NEU was, and they were able to keep a lot of those in reserve to then put into more team fights later on, especially a lot of the support ults and keeping, again, like separating them out. So you saw the Juno ult kind of always on standby whenever something like the Lucio ult wasn't. So they were using them not in tandem, but back and forth between each other.
Yeah, I would agree. Just better usage of else. Maybe a switch was needed. I sometimes don't always think that a tank mirror is the best thing you can do. It isn't the worst thing, but sometimes I do feel like maybe bringing in a different tank, trying to spice some things up, might work better in the favor. We are not seeing a tank mirror matchup so far, at least. We do have Pooter Scooter on that Orisa, which is a little bit different from what we've seen. I know that Orisa is pretty strong on this map. This is a good map to play Orisa on. We see Northeastern still sticking with that Ramatra. The tried and trusted Duckland switches to, yeah, I was about to say, definitely not going to run out on Junkrat nowadays, but yeah. So
We do see Miami trying to hold the high ground a bit. I like the Zen play on this map. That Discord, along with the DPS passive, is very good to knock down and focus one target, especially somebody as hard to kill as an Orisa. And while we do see Tracer try to go in for these backline kills, we'll see who ends up finding the first pick. And the Widowmaker right now trying to battle it out, trying to take some picks onto the high ground, but eventually Northeastern is going to try and combat that high ground. We see Pooter Scooter a little bit overwhelmed right now, trying to combat Northeastern's Ramatra as much as they can, hold that high ground with the support allotted to them, while the Widowmaker is staying generally low to the ground, trying to go for any picks on anybody that they can see. And while that isn't the greatest stuck into the ground that we've seen from Frisco tonight, I do think that they are trying to fight this as much as they can, and Hedwig is doing their best to find that first pick.
yeah, Hedwig definitely looking for this. It's kind of a stalemate of a fight, really. We are seeing some picks now. On manages to take out 2 for Miami University. That is very good. Frisco does manage to get that onto Killen, which is unfortunate that they lose their support. Nitrous Oxide takes out Duckland. It's looking like Miami, Ohio doing a pretty decent job here. Pooter Scooter forcing back Frisco. He's going to come back at him a little bit here. But it looks like Miami, Ohio have done a decent job of not allowing Northeastern to get a crazy push so far.
Yeah, and this first choke and the choke after it are very difficult to work with. We do see Hedwig land a clean shot onto On, which does force the Miami University to pull back a little bit, finally giving them space to start pushing the cart and move a little bit forward, gain some of that momentum. While Pooter Scooter is trying their best to try and hold off the Northeastern team, they have a lot of momentum behind them, and once they start gaining it, it's really hard to stop it. And so you got to find that first pick and slow them down, and that anti is going to be very important for the Miami team. We do see the window come out from the Baptiste, which forces Miami into hiding to try and avoid it and wait for it to run out. Shiro is able to find one onto On. I do believe, yep, there comes the Nano and the Terra Surge. Isn't going to be able to find anybody in time. No, Shocker does take out the life, I forget what that's called, I'm sorry. But Pooter Scooter does find one on the Duckland, and they're trying their best to try and combat the BAP team. Lamp, that's it. They're trying their best to try and counter that, because Lamp is very important to this team comp right now. And here comes the Zen ult. Gonna build up their ults a lot, but the issue is down goes both support ults. So as we see both the Annihilation and the Genji Blade come out, On is able to find 2. Can they find more? Yes, they can. Finds 3, forcing the Northeastern team to back up. And only a minute 20 left on the clock. They can hold them at this point, which gives Miami a very good possibility to bring this back. But unfortunately, a little bit of an overestimation and what's the word? Commit, thank you, from Shocker leads to an untimely demise. And so now Miami is going to have to fight this next fight down a player as they wait for Shocker to come back.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do a big team fight like down your main DPS. So let's see how Miami can work around that. Shocker making his way back, is going to use the ult. Is he going to be able to get anybody with it? He's going to get followed up with a fellow ult from the other Sojourn. That is Hedwig here. Not really anyone getting picked with it. Hedwig manages to find one on the Pooter Scooter. That's a huge kill for Northeastern, losing a tank. Duckland manages to get on, winning the Genji battle there, and they are going to be able to almost touch this first checkpoint here. They have gotten it, so now they have an extra 3 minutes to try to reach that next one, and Northeastern is going to push Miami back as far as they can.
Yeah, they want to gain as much ground as possible to hold them at this choke, and while they have one person on the cart moving it slowly forward, the rest of Northeastern is going to hold as far forward as they can to try and stop Miami from coming back to the cart and holding them and buying even more time for themselves, because right now Northeastern in a bit of a pickle with less than 3 minutes to go. A lot of what we've seen from Northeastern so far is that 5 minutes 30 on the clock for them as they capture the point very fast, but in these escort maps, it's a little different.
It is different. It can be a lot more difficult. They are not as on top of this as they usually are when it comes to a payload. So they are going to want to try and just get this pushed as far as they can. Killian just doing some nice healing onto the Orisa. Looking at Shocker now doing some damage onto the Rat. We do hear the blade come out from Duckland. Does get nanoed, and he is going to fall. Shocker also does fall to Hedwig. So it is looking like Miami, Ohio coming out a little bit on top of that team fight there, kind of forcing Miami to fall back. Pooter Scooter kind of extending out this space that they have, forcing Miami, Ohio even farther back, maybe pushing the payload back a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's very important that Miami won that fight because that gives them a lot more space and a lot more ground to work with to slow down the Northeastern team. And while they only have 2 ults on the way, and so does Northeastern, they are closing in on some of these key ults, both of which being the support ults that Miami is only going to have one of soon. And out comes the orbital ray. Is it going to be able to find any momentum? It does. Voodoo Scooter falls to QG Hop. Can they find any more momentum? A lot of Miami is falling back right now to try and gain as much ground as possible to bring back their Orisa from spawn. It doesn't seem like any other kills are coming out just yet. The Lucio trying to take advantage of the forward momentum. Can they take the Genji out? No. On is going to take Shiro out, but in the end, On is also going to fall to Frisco, which is now bringing Miami again back into this 4v5 position. But as they don't have the Lucio anymore, the satellite vector is going to be very important for the Miami team. We see Frisco able to get one, but Voodoo Scooter takes out QG Hop as well. Hedwig finds one, Duckwind does as well, but On returns the favor as well. So now much closer. Here comes the Genji ult as well. We do see Beat come out, but it's not going to last for very long. Can Genji find anything off of this blade? No, Shiro is going to fall. Or sorry, On is going to fall to Shiro, and Duckwind is also going to find Voodoo Scooter.
Yeah, it's just a bit of an unfortunate Genji ult when you're trapped in that beat. You just can't really do the damage that you need to get that any of the picks from the ult. So Miami gonna have to regroup a little bit here. It isn't the end of the world if Northeastern does manage to push it all the way, especially because they are holding them for quite a while here, and these team fights have been fairly even. So they have something to be proud of here. You know, they're holding it to under 2 minutes left. Duckman takes a lot of damage, is being forced to back out, has to use the deflect to stay alive, and he's still taking a ton of damage. Is gonna fall to Killian. That's huge for Miami, Ohio. Now Northeastern is down there flex support. Frisco was anti there for a second, very low on HP. Shocker does have the ult. Is he going to use it? Probably not. He's going to want to save it for a bit of a bigger fight here, as they're going to try and hold Northeastern to this point here. Yeah.
Yeah, Genji in a bit of a pickle, but out comes the Terra Surge. No lamp to protect it this time. It is going to find Shiro. A good play there and a good start to their momentum as Miami tries to counteract the forward momentum of Northeastern. Duckwind once again going to fall. Voodoo Scooter finding 2 at this point. Northeastern backing up, buying their time, but they are running out of it slowly. But these ults are slowly building up, and Northeastern has been known to kill it with the ults lately. But Miami this time does have a lot on their side to return fire with. And with Shocker and the Nano from Nitro, we'll have to see how they respond to it. We see both overclocks come out, as well as the Nano. Can they find anything? We're seeing a lot of bouncing back and forth. These eventually finds one, finds 2. On to Frisco, can they keep it going? The ult does run out, then Duckwind's able to find one. On returns the favor, but Duckwind finds one and On as well. And now, once again, Northeastern forced to retreat here. They're going to go for a little bit of pick damage to try and force them back just a bit as they build as much momentum as they can. But with 30 seconds left, Miami's in a good spot to hold them, although the only ult that they have on the horizon is that orbital ray.
Yes, only that orbital ray. That's not going to be enough. Miami has a very good angle here. They have the chance to only hold. They have the chance to hold Northeastern 2 here. The orbit is going to come out, as well as the blade from Duckland. So this is Miami's chance. He manages to find 2. Pooter takes out Shiro. He's going to try to get one last one with the blade. Manages to do so. He's going to go all in on Pooter now, and Duckland with a nice 4K, which I think is going to allow them to push it all the way here.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to get back in time, even with the swaps they made. And as they just almost barely get there to hold it, the Annihilation would have come out to try and hold them back as much as they can. They did have the satellite vector to try and counter that, but even though there was no touch at the end, I know Miami University is fighting as hard as they can, and they almost took Northeastern to overtime with 0.6 on the clock.
Yeah, they did not do a bad job. 0.6 on the clock. I mean, when you're Miami against Northeastern, that's pretty good. So Miami, what they're going to have to do now is they're going to have to really push. Like, they're going to have to push this payload as far as, I mean, obviously as far as they can. I'm just stating the obvious, caster moment. But we just need to see them sort of do what Northeastern did, but do it in less time. They need to get to these checkpoints faster. They need to give themselves the maximum amount of time to push this payload here. They don't want to be only 0.6 seconds left at the end. They want to have way more time than that, and I do think that they could do it.
And we are seeing a few swaps from the side of Northeastern. Duckland going to that May play. Miami keeping everything generally the same. though that is going to be a bit of a predicament for the Miami side, because those walls are going to be able to block them off, and more importantly, probably block off the Orisa from the rest of the Northeast, or from the Miami University supports. And with a sightline healer like Ana, that's very important to be able to do. So we'll see if they're able to hold them up here. They are sneaking around just a little bit near the front gates, but we'll see where this goes. I think they're just going to try and like cordon them off into some weird place, but we'll see if they get spotted. It looks like they are spotted in the end.
Yeah, it's a little far up for Miami. They do manage to find two, one on Shocker. Q-Up going to do some healing onto the Sojourn here, just doing some nice healing. And yeah, very quickly forcing Miami Ohio back from that first attack.
Yeah. It is quite unfortunate to see that really early on. It's definitely a little bit of a deterrent to walk out of your spawn doors and immediately be met with practically a team kill. But right now, Miami is trying to fight against the forward momentum of Northeastern and the wall that they are practically becoming right now. We're seeing them try to be separated off from that spear spin as well, but with this Mei playing tickle damage in the back line, it's going to be hard for the supports to stay focused on the DPS and on the tank at the same time. So we'll wonder who, in the end, is able to find a kill first. It is Pooter Scooter taking down Mei onto Duckman. That's a good start for the Miami team. Are they be able to keep this forward momentum going? Shocker is able to find a second one onto Shiro. This is really good for them. Can they keep it going? Shocker finds another one. Finds one, and Nitrous Oxide goes in to clean everything up. Miami now has the momentum to start building this forward, get past the chokes. Can they keep it going?
So they have done one of the hardest things first. They have actually gotten past that first team fight. This is such a hard first kind of area when you are the attacking team. I think that this is a very good map for defense, as they're already making our way back into this next team fight. Frisco a little low on HP, seeing what Shocking do. Gets kind of May-walled off from his team, manages to destroy it, just kind of laying in the damage. Gets a nice pick onto Shiro there. That's a good one, but does fall to Frisco in the end. Kudos are going to go all now on Frisco, seeing if he can take out the tank, but the Mail is going to come out, and that is going to be detrimental for Kudos Scooter there. It's turn to follow Duckman. Hedwig gets on, and now they're just going to force Miami back.
That's okay, though. It did take an ult to stop the push from Miami. And right now, Miami does have almost all 5 at the ready and online, compared to Northeastern's 2, basically. In the next team fight, I don't know if Northeastern will get Annihilation or beat. So Miami's in a good spot to try and counter whatever ults come out from Northeastern with some of their own to try and build up that momentum. Once again, Duckman falling very low again. We do see the overclock come out from Hedwig. Is it able to find anybody? Doesn't look like it. We do see the overclock as well come from Shocker. The Nano and the Orbital Ray comes out. Is Shocker going to fall? I don't know. Yes, they will. Can they keep it going? They gotta fight against it. Blade is at the ready, but I don't know if it's going to come out necessarily. And right now, it seems like most of Miami is trying to fight back, but they're just getting stuck against the team of Northeastern, and now, unfortunately, are pushed back to their spawn doors, which gives Northeastern that same space once again.
Yeah, Miami, they're really going to want to try and reach this checkpoint. They're running out of time to do so. They're going to need to come up with a push to stop this Northeastern defense here, and they are going to need to be able to reach that checkpoint soon. They're already at less than a minute left, and this is going to be very difficult for them to win this map at this point. They're not going to have a lot of time if they do reach that checkpoint, so they're going to need to figure something out quick here.
It's very difficult fighting with not too many ults. We do see out comes Blade. Can it find anybody? Frisco is slept up on the high ground. Beat comes out to try and counteract all of the momentum from On and the Blade that came out from it. Trying to keep a lot alive right now. Shocker does find one. Annihilation comes out. Can they take it out of this fight early on? Just blocking right now, trying to keep Annihilation going for as long as they can. Mei is pushed out of position, uses that ice block to try and get us some health back and stop the momentum from the Orisa. Orisa so low on health, does end up falling to Duckland. Shocker finds another one under Frisco. Their tanks are down. Finds 3, finds 4!
Great stuff from Shocker. That could be what they needed to get them to at least reach this first checkpoint, but they're gonna have to push and maybe win another team fight if Northeastern can make it back there in time, and it's looking like they might be able to do so. The overtime clock is going to come out, so are they going to be able to reach that checkpoint? Sadly not. Northeastern is going to make their way back out, and they're going to have to win another team fight to try and get this first checkpoint.
With Blizzard active and ready to go, it's going to be hard to stay on that point while Blizzard is thrown on it if they decide to do so. Shocker in a bit of a predicament here. Nano comes out. We also see the overclock from Hedwig. Is able to find one. Can they keep it going? Genji in a bit of a spot himself, but Voodoo Scooter is able to find one. So is Frisco on to the support. Both supports of Miami are now down with It's going to be hard for them to fight against it, and Northeastern has taken game number 2 against Miami.
Yep, great. That was really good from Northeastern there. Just textbook defense. And, they did what they needed to do, essentially. Just better usage of the alts, better job of holding. We do see Duckland with the play of the game with the googly eyes. Nice touch here. I have a feeling I know what this is going to be. Yes, it's going to be this nice little blade usage here. Very nice alt from Duckland. Manages to find 3 and also gets the pick onto Pooter Scooter there, which was to actually push it all the way as well.
Yeah, Miami now in a bit of a spot themselves. They are down 2. Next game could spill the end for their run in this bracket. If that is the case, they put up a fantastic fight. However, they're not out of this yet. We have seen people take games on NEU, and it is possible for Miami to do the same. We saw it in that first game, round 1, on the same point, as they had a chance to bring it all the way to the end, take 1 point over top of NEU, and they still have a chance to do so. And as we go, either going to be, I think it will be Flashpoint or Push are the options. We're going to see which one they decide to go with and what Miami decides to do to try and counteract the forward momentum and the aggression and domination from the NEU team.
And it is going to be Push the Robot. We have just received word. It is going to be Runasapi. So Push the Robot. So that's a very different game mode. It's a little, it can be a bit of a stalemate, Push the Robot. We have just seen, NEU is pretty good on Push. That was the one game they took off of Ball State earlier today, was on Push.
But even that was such a back and forth.
It was such a back and forth.
Because what ended up happening was because Ball State decided to run dive.
We don't know why they did that.
Yeah, they ran dive against the Ramatra's Brawl, and it didn't end up working, which gave a lot of NEU so much room to breathe, and by the time it started going back and forth between the teams, nothing really came of it, and no more ground was really made.
Yeah.
And so what you want to do to fight NEU in this point is you want to build that ground ahead of time, and then you can fall into that rhythm of winning a fight and then losing a fight, because you have that ground that they have to build back on you. So if Miami can get an early lead, which we've seen them do in these games, then they have a shot at taking a game off of NEU and possibly taking it all the way for the reverse sweep.
Yeah, Push could be for them. I mean, they have this early game momentum, and if they can get the robot not pushed all the way, obviously, but just pushed a decent length, I mean, they will have so much leeway.
It doesn't need to go all the way.
It doesn't need to go all the way. They can have so much leeway, and if they lose a fight, as long as they can defend at least a little bit and just push the robot back to where they had it, they could win this one and maybe even try to go for the reverse sweep.
Yeah, I mean, you've gotta fight NEU on their own turf. You've got to bring the same energy and the same passion and exactly maybe sometimes the same comp and just play it better than them or find a counter. Because right now, they've just been going to try and play the Sojourn against a Sojourn. They've been trying to find a counter to the tank by playing Orisa. I don't know what you necessarily need to play, because right now Ramatra is just so cemented in the comp itself that the ability to both gain health back, have that Nemesis form at the ready at all times, basically, Annihilation being a great ult, there just isn't a lot of tanks that can counter a Ramatra. And unfortunately, because of the Malga nerf, Malga was really the only answer just because of how strong he was as a tank. He wasn't necessarily a Ramatra counter. He was just so strong in his own right. And now with the nerf coming out, Ramatra kind of takes that spot as the cemented tank in the comp itself in these high-level gameplay states. And right now, there just isn't much to respond to him with, because you've just got to play a better tank. And there isn't really a tank that is meant to counter him, because there hasn't been anybody designed to do that.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a direct counter. Other than himself. Himself would probably be his best counter, but I guess there's a few things you could do. I mean, if you wanted to, you could try to throw in like a Sigma, but Sigma isn't like a direct ramp counter. And it all depends on the map and the playstyle with that.
Yeah.
You could even try to throw in like a Rhine, but like that probably not with the big guy mode, as I like to call it. And it's just like it's hard to try to come up with a counter.
Are they talking about Rivals in the chat?
I don't know. Yeah, this is not Rivals.
They said ban hella.
This is not Rivals. This is Overwatch.
This is Overwatch. We don't like Rivals in this house.
No, this is all about Overwatch.
But, okay, looking at the comps here, it's the same thing from NEU, and Miami trying to switch things up, no longer having that Genji, instead Shockers on the Torbjorn. So we're going to see how that works out for them, and Northeastern is going to try and play this the same way they've been playing it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, but Miami's got to find a way to respond.
Yeah, they do as they make their way to point. Let's see how this alternate comp works, having Shocker on the Torb and on the Soju this time, instead of having on Genji and Shocker on the Soju. Just a nice switch up. Maybe it could work out for them as just a bit of a stalemate of a fight. Now Shiro and Genji heading into the back line, seeing if they can get any nice picks. Frisco manages to get one on, but Nitrous Oxide falls up on the Declan. That's a nice trade. And it looks like Miami Ohio has had a great start to this so far. Shocker and Buddha Shooter each getting picks of their own. Hedwig taking out Shocker's turn here. But it looks like Miami Ohio might be able to build that sizable advantage at the beginning that we talked about.
That's what I was going to say, that's what we discussed. You've got to do that early. If you can get it to that halfway marker and get yourself the fast spawn, that's incredibly useful because that's what we saw Northeastern do against Ball State. That's how they won. They had the fast spawn basically always active and then just went to fight them at the midpoint. And if they lost the fast spawn, by the time they won the fight against Ball State, were able to just come back and win in that spot again and then just do that back and forth over and over again. And right now, Miami is already halfway to that halfway mark, or that fast spawn mark.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why they weren't shooting Frisco there as he was left, but now we just see Hedwig. It looks like Miami, Northeastern might be able to get on this robot, see if they can kind of counter Miami's push here. Shiro just kind of holding back, doing a little bit of damage. Gonna have to fall back and do some healing here, activating that healing boost and just using the speed to help this team fall back. Nice anti there from Nitrous Oxide, forcing Northeastern very far back, allowing Miami to push this even farther. That's kind of what they need to do, is they need to get this thing pushed as far as they can, and right now they're doing a decent job of doing so.
Yeah, and Nano already available, both supports already available from the Miami side, so if they want to try and do something, I was going to say do it now. Nano does come out. Are they going to be able to find anything? Yes, Scooter finds one. Can they keep the momentum going? The Nano does run out. Scooter does have Terra Surge at the ready, but right now, Miami has made it to that fast spawn mark. They have a lot of ground already over top of Northeastern. If they can just hold this from this point on and build as much ground as they can, Northeastern going to be in a bit of a pickle themselves to try and bring this one back around.
Yeah, that's kind of the strategy when it comes to push, is just pushing it very, very far, and then just you can kind of lay off a little bit. You can unlock in. We do see the orbit come out from Northeastern, going to try and maybe get this thing back. We're seeing a lot of picks come out from them. Shiro and Duckland both managing to take out someone from Miami, and Northeastern still has 3 ults to use. Are we going to see them use it? I don't think so in this fight. It looks like they might be able to win it without it. Yes, they are. Does manage to pick off the Torb, and now they are going to try and push it. But like we said, if Miami wins this next team fight, they'll just push it right back.
I wouldn't say also the Terra Surge was the best play there. It was definitely a spot to use it, but the issue is a lot of your team was already taken out of the fight, and so having that ult going into this next team fight may have been a bit more important. Miami does still have, out comes the Orbital Ray to try and do anything to push back Northeastern, but they have 4 ults to their names to use at any moment's notice. We're going to see which one comes out. We see Beat come out. We see the Blade come out. Q-Hop trying to get one into the turret. They do. Frisco takes one out on the On. We see the Overclock as well come out from Hedwig, able to find 2 with it. Can they find more? No, Duckland cleans up on Ana, and Nitrous Oxide is able to get one under Shiro as well. Just the Orisa left to defend this point, but the rest try to return, and there goes Booter Scooter. But that was a lot of ults come out from the Northeastern side, and Miami still has some to their name, but Northeastern still has that Annihilation at the ready.
Yes, so that was the Northeastern. They had to invest a lot of ults into that fight. But kind of one thing we see is they still have to push it a decent amount still to match Miami, Ohio. And Miami, Ohio, they have Sojal and they almost have Nano. That's a very powerful combination. So let's see how they can use it and maybe try and get this robot back, push it even farther than they did before, and let's see what they can do.
See Killian able to get one onto Shiro early on. That puts Miami in a good spot to take this one back. They've just got to keep focused on one person and decide to take them out of the fight. Duckland takes one out onto Shocker. We see Booter Scooter in a bit of a pickle here as they go to low health, but is put back to full here, trying to fight against Frisco right now. The Annihilation is no longer a possibility in this fight as Frisco's taken out. Booter Scooter finds one, finds 2, Killian finds another, and Northeastern now has to return to try and bring this one back, and Miami is probably going to get that fast spawn in their favor once again.
Yeah, this is what we talked about. That I've won that team fight there, and now Northeastern, they're going to have to win a whole other team fight, push it all the way back and then some to try and get their advantage back. The thing with the only disadvantage of this is there's still 5 minutes left on the clock. There's still a lot of Overwatch to be played here in this map, so it would be good for Miami if they could push it maybe farther.
Here comes the Terra Surge as well as the Anti. Is anything able to be found? On is able to find something with the overclock. Can it find any more? Can it get the Lucio? He's trying to run away. It is able to be found as On takes out 2. Miami put in another good spot as Annihilation is used. On finds 3. Can they keep the streak alive? They used Annihilation. They used Orbital Ray. But Northeastern is in a bad spot. Is On finds 4. And Killian wraps it up.
Northeastern, I do not think it was the play to use that orbital array there. Now you don't have anything. I mean, you're almost there to Sojal and halfway to beat, but now Miami's going to be able to push this farther, and you don't have any ults now. I just don't think you needed to use orbital array. I don't think that was the play. And Annihilation, you just didn't really get anything out of these ults. You missed it 2, and you lost the team fight.
The swap Pharah, an interesting pick. Definitely one we've seen before, but if that Pharah decides to play a little bit too far out, definitely going to be worrisome as the Ana and Sojourn can take them out relatively easily. We see Sojourn on a bit of low health here as they try to fight back and forth, but Miami is past that 100-meter mark. We see the overclock come out from Hedwig. Frisco finds one into Killian. Can they get anything done? Frisco finds 2. Can they keep it going? Orisa falls to Q-Hop. Frisco finds number 3, and Shiro closes it out for the team kill.
Yep, and now we just kind of need to see them continue to push this here. And the problem is, if they lose this next team fight, like we've said before, Miami's just going to push it all the way back. And that is the stalemate of Push the Robot, ladies and gentlemen. You kind of just get into a never-ending back and forth, and that's why it is not my personal favorite game mode. But let's see if Northeastern can break that mold, win this next team fight here. Maybe they can make this Pharah work.
Out comes the orbital ray from Miami's side. We do have Nano at the ready as well, but Nice Oxide a bit low on health. The Pharah in the backline, possibly looking for a barrage. Scooter able to find one into Hedwig. On finds one into Shiro. Miami again in a good spot to push this bot all the way back. How's that for rhyming? Shocker able to find one into QG Hop. Frisco does take down Shocker, but Miami once again is most likely both going to get this fast spawn back in their favor and push Northeastern even further back.
Yep, this is how you play Push the Robot. Miami, Ohio doing it very well, knowing when to invest their ults, knowing which team fights they have to win and which ones they can maybe let slide a little bit. And it is working out very well for them. Northeastern still not taken into their lead yet, and Duckman does manage to find one with the ult, but that's kind of also fun.
Nitrous Oxide gets one. So does Shocker, so does Killian. The Nano comes out on both the Ana, and I don't know who it went on to, but I think it might have been Shocker. Booter Scooter finds one on the Hedwig, and Booter Scooter cleans up the kill once again. They are going to get the fast spawn and possibly push this even further.
I think that was another unnecessary orbital array from QG Hop. We've kind of talked about how NEU has been very good at using their ults at the right time and getting the most out of them, but these past few orbital arrays have just not been where they needed to be. He was dead right after he used it.
Scooter does find one. The second one is down as Duckman and Shiro both have to come back from spawn. This robot is getting very close to the end of this map in general, and with 2 ults now active for Miami compared to the 2 for Northeastern, I wonder what's going to come out first. Beat is at the ready as well as Annihilation. Will they be able to push Miami back all the way with only 1:30 left? We'll have to see. Booter Scooter in a bit of a pickle here. Does fall to Frisco. We're going to see what ends up coming out here. No ults seem to be used just yet. Duckman finds one into Nitrous Oxide, and it seems like Miami is going for a bit of a regroup as they chase down On with Div indeed fall, and it looks like so will Killian, and Tracer is just barely able to get out in time.
So if the pattern stays the same, Miami will win this next team fight probably and continue to push it. This very much in the favor of Miami right now. Northeastern has quite a way to push it in less than a minute to do so. If they step off the robot once the overtime clock comes out, they will fall and lose this map. So they have to push it very far. Miami, Ohio pretty much just has to win this next team fight, maybe win 2 more, but let's see if they can do that.
Out comes both Overclock and the Terror Surge, but it is responded to by Beat, which is a very good use of it because right now there isn't too much that Miami can do to respond, and they are fighting on this point as much as they can. Can they take out Booter Scooter? Duckman is able to find one under Killian. QG Hop is quite low as Shocker returns the favor, doing the exact same mirror death as QG Hop was able to get in. We see Nano come out as well as Annihilation. Annihilation is slept. Can they get away from it and force it out of commission? Yes, it is gone. And with 18 seconds left, and Frisco now taken out of this fight, Northeastern is looking to lose their first game, and Miami looks to be on the board. Can they get back in time? Hedwig is there and waiting to send this into overtime, as well as the rest of the Northeastern team as they decide to come back and try to give it one more try.
Yep, they have to win this team fight here. Overtime clock comes out. Let's see what is going to happen. The Nano comes out front, not the nail. The anti comes out. Great use of it there. Now the orbital array is going to come out from Killian for Miami. The overtime clock falls a little low there, but they manage to get back on the point. Northeastern is going to have to stay on this for as long as they possibly can, but they don't have anyone on. Someone gets back on. Junker Queen driving a little bit too far forward. Two people for Northeastern are on the point, but Junker Queen is now antied and is very low. Manages to gain some health back, but it's still a little overextended. The orbital array now comes out from Northeastern. So it looks like Northeastern might be able to hold on to this for a little bit longer. They are pushing Miami, Ohio back. The overtime is still out. Hedwig forced to fall back as he's a little low on HP, but it looks like the Junker Queen does fall, and the overtime clock's going to fall 0. Miami, Ohio beats Northeastern on push.
Wow, okay. The reverse sweep is on the board now for Miami. They just got to take it from here on out and watch a performance indeed from Booter Scooter, the tank that Miami University needed in this situation and put in so many good situations to show their stuff over top of Northeastern. And Miami is now the third team to take a game off of the almost undefeated Northeastern University.
We said they could do it, and they did. That was very. They played that absolutely perfectly. There was nothing they really could have done more. They just did it. It was textbook push, and they did exactly what Northeastern did to Ball State earlier today. Just getting it as far as they can, and just it's a never ending thing of, okay, we lost this team fight, but as long as we win the next one, we're fine. And that's how you play push, and they did it so well. And on top of that, I think there were so many times where the orbital array would come out from NEU, and that just didn't work out very well. The one at the end was great. That was the perfect. That's when they needed to use it, was because they needed to win that fight. But yeah, I just think that Miami, Ohio played better.
Yeah, I mean, that was, as you said before, textbook. They did exactly what they needed to do. They didn't push it all the way to the end, but they pushed it so far that Northeastern had to do so much work to get it there in the end. And like we said before, Miami just needed to have a good start to the game, and then slowly, as the push game mode worked in their favor, we're able to push it even further, and we're able to finally take one game off of NEU, and the reverse sweep, like I said, is now in the picture. It's possible. Can they do it?
It is possible. And even if they don't take it all the way, they can still say that they were a team that got a game off of NEU. That is a huge achievement for them. And if they manage to bring themselves to the grand finals tomorrow, that would be just an amazing story. Down to completes the reverse sweep. That would be great to see for Miami. And the next map is Suravasa. So Flashpoint. It's an interesting game mode. It's a very stressful game mode.
Yeah, it's really fast. So Servasa that we're seeing, the Flashpoint game mode, if you don't know already, is basically just it's a much faster control. So you have less time to fight on the points, but you have to fight for more points in the end, and so it's more closer to a best of 5 in terms of how many you have to capture to win the game. And so if Northeastern is able to play their defense well, like they've been doing in these games on control, then I have a feeling that Miami might be taken out in this situation. But if Miami is able to do what they did in the first game of the first map, then I think they have a chance at doing it, because pulling a 99% over the heads of NEU takes a lot of dedication. And now you can pull that 99% even faster. So if you're able to do that and hold out for as long as you can and just repeat that process over and over again, I think Miami's got a shot.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. Is they've done a really good job of building out an early sizable advantage. They just have struggled to keep it.
Yeah.
In Flashpoint, that advantage builds out even faster. So maybe Miami, Ohio, they could, if they cap point first and they just hold it for as long, and they could build up a very sizable advantage to where they only need to win one team fight, or they just cannot hold it the entire time. The only problem is that I know that NEU is very good on Flashpoint. They are very good in this game mode. So it's kind of, I think it could go either way, which is kind of a fun thing that we are saying that in the losers final, it can go either way of who could win this. And can Miami, Ohio keep the reverse sweep alive, or is NEU going to go to the grand finals tomorrow?
That is the question. But as we go ahead and get ready to go into game here, I know that Miami is trying their best to keep the streak alive, and they're getting, I can see right now, I think that's either a member of the Miami coaching team or it's just a member of the Miami staff here is just giving them that little pep talk. And it's they've got a lot of people supporting them, and like we said, like they've got everybody out there cheering for them. They've got their own team, they've got their coaches, they've got their supporters in general. And right now, NEU is away from home. They don't have that other than the support they have coming from either the Twitch chat or their coaches or their own team. But having an audience watching for you, rooting for you, and at your home turf makes a huge difference mentally.
It really does. It's like it's the same thing in like a lot of sports. Is certain teams you play them at home and you have a bit of a rough time against them because they're just so much better at home. And Miami Ohio has that advantage. They have such a big crowd behind them. They're at their home. They've played here so much, and that is really that's kind of a special thing for them. And I do hope that it goes well for them either way. Because like we said, even if if they don't manage to take this reverse sweep all the way, they have taken a game off of NEU. That's a very big
Man, that
achievement.
looks good.
It does. I'm so hungry.
I'm so hungry.
I'm so hungry. Oh my god, I am so hungry.
All right, well, looking at the comps here, we see a few things switch around other than what we saw from the Miami University in the push map. So that's staying generally the same, other than Shocker has gone back to Torbjorn instead of the Tracer. From Northeastern, we're seeing that Cassidy switch being their only thing off of Sojourn. So we're going to see who ends up playing this better and who can take this game. If Northeastern takes it, they're going to the Grands. But if Miami takes it, the reverse sweep is in the picture.
Yeah, I think Hedwig plays a lot of Cassidy on this map, which is kind of interesting. I don't really know if he has a sizable advantage here or not. I think that Torb is actually a pretty decent pick, as there's a lot of places you can throw the current around. So let's see how this plays out for them. Killian gets a nice pick on the Hedwig. That is a great trade, taking out the main DPS that fast into the fight. So let's see how this is going to play out. Briscoe kind of throwing up the shield, but he's going to take a lot of damage and fall. So it looks like Miami Ohio, if they can keep up this momentum they have, as Shocker takes out another one, they're going to get this first tap, and let's see if they can hold it.
Again, a fantastic start. Booter Scooter able to clean up one onto QG Hop. So the rest, and finds another one on Shiro. Can they keep it going? No, okay, they did back off. Finds two. Well played. I think they found three, actually, onto Frisco. And right now, at 25% already, they're in a good spot to take this. If they get it to 50 before Northeastern re-engages or takes the point themselves, Miami's in a fantastic spot to take point one.
Yeah, they're already approaching 50%. The flashpoint percentage just ticks up so fast. So Northeastern they really have to win this next team fight, because Miami Ohio is just building this percentage so much, building such a gap that the light speed is going to come out from Killian, and they're going to immediately get Hedwig out again. Now Northeastern is down their main DPS at the start of a battle once more. Stop's going to have to be forced onto healing, and he's going to have to run away from Scooter there on the Orisa, and it looks like Miami Ohio has done a successful job of defending this first point so far.
Yeah, at 85%, Northeastern's got one more fight to contest this point with, and if they take another early hit like they're doing right now with Frisco getting low on health, that's going to been bad news for them. Frisco low on health. Ducklin is able to find one onto Killian, which means a bad spot for Miami. Unfortunately, Booter Scooter also falls, but while they did take the first point, that's a really understandable loss. I mean, who cares? They got the point. Just move on to the next one. What a start.
Northeastern, you were there. Why didn't you touch? You were there. Kind of a bit of a question, but they are going to have the advantage if they're going to be on the next point first. So maybe that was intentional. Maybe they didn't want to touch. We don't really know what they're thinking. Let's see how this is going to go for them, as Miami is going to make their way to this next point now with Northeastern there and waiting for them.
Yeah, Northeastern does have advantage on the point first, but Nano is going to come out early on. Terror Surge is at the ready if they can find any reason and possibility to use it here. Ducklin does have Blade. It does come out, as well as Cassidy's ult. We see Orbit come out. Hedwig is able to find one onto Killian. Blade not able to do anything, but Shiro does find one onto Booter Scooter. On finds one. Frisco is then traded off onto On. QG Hot cleans one up onto Nitro, and Shocker is taken out for the last moment of the point, and Northeastern does secure this point first.
Yes, but Miami has almost 4 ults that they are going to be able to combat at this point in the next fight. They have a tank ult, they have both DPS ults, and the Orbit, which is such a strong ult. So I think that Miami could take this from them with one team fight win. It's all about what they do with these ults, because Northeastern had to invest a lot of ults into that one as the Annihilation comes out from Frisco. But he's not really able to do anything with it. He's getting forced into the corner, taking a ton of damage. Doesn't really seem like he's going to get a single pick with that, as Shocker takes out Shiro. And yeah, the Annihilation, just nothing really came of it. Kind of an overcommit from the ult there.
Right now, they're put in another good spot. 2 people are down. Frisco able to find one on a Killian, but Down goes Frisco and QG Hop. Shocker able to find a double. Can they keep it going? They've just got to take out 2 more. The Terror Surge does come out. It's able to find 1 onto Hedwig. And down goes Genji soon enough. Yep, it is traded out. And Miami takes the point. While Northeastern did get 86, which means one team fight could spell the end for this point specifically. If Miami could just do what they did last time and hold this point till the end, they are in a very good spot against Northeastern.
They very much are, and it's nice that they have that orb ball to kind of wall off if they need to. It can act as sort of a wall of its own. So let's see how they use that. They did have to use a lot of ults to win that last team fight, but they still have some. So let's see how it's going to turn out for Miami.
Molten Core does buy them a bit of time, forces them back as they wait for it to run out. Deadeye is at the ready once again, as well as Beat. We see Beat come out. Is Nano going to come out? We see a lot of things happening. Nano does come out. Can Hedwig keep it going? Is traded out by Pooter Scooter as Frisco takes one out onto On as well. Duckman finds one onto Killian. I don't know how many else are going to fall before this point trades ahead, but Shocker finds one onto Shiro. Can they keep this one alive? I don't know if Nemesis is at the ready or not. Shocker's able to find one onto Duckman as well. If they could just hold this fight, I think they've got the second point in the bag. Pooter Scooter gets one under Frisco, delays the push even more. And wow, I think they're going to take point 2 over Northeastern.
How did Miami hold that? It looked like they were down and out. Like right off the bat, Pooter Scooter manages to hold it. Miami only needs 1 more to take this and continue the reverse sweep. Keep it possible. Whatever they have found, it is working. They just need to get 1 more point, and Northeastern needs to figure out what is going on, or else they could have a chance of losing their thought to be guaranteed spot in the Grand Nationals.
This is absolutely incredible. We see Blade come out. It does find one. Frisco takes out the turret. This Blade is going to be put to use, but the issue is the flashpoint isn't even active yet. This team kill basically means nothing for Northeastern other than taking the point first. Miami is going to come into this next fight with a lot of ults to try and take it back compared to Northeastern's 2 that they're going to have soon, both being Annihilation and Deadeye, which has gotten nothing so far this game.
Deadeye's just not a very strong ult, and the Annihilation hasn't been put to the best use either. Miami almost has 4 ults, and one of them is one of the strongest support ults in the game, as well as two decent DPS ults, as they are already pushing onto the point here.
Nemesis form comes out early. That's really good for them. They see one out of position. Out comes the Torbold. Can they keep it going? Can they keep it going? Annihilation runs out. Shocker's able to find one under Dunkman. That's really good. Can they keep it going? They've got to take the point back and then hold it. They are in a good spot to do so. Nemesis comes out once again. The Orisa trying to take down Hedwig. They do. Can they take out any more? Nemesis form is going to run out. Frisco is gone. They've just got to take the point on, take one out. Shiro's about to fall as well. If they hold the point, they're taking game 2.
This is very...
Game 4.
Game 4, and look, they still have 4 ults. They didn't even need to use any to win that team fight, and they baited out an Annihilation. Miami is playing this almost perfectly here. They have 4 ults to try and hold point 2 to win game 4 and make it 2-2 against Northeastern.
Frisco's in a bit of a bad spot. Are they going to fall? Trying to stay alive. You see the Terror Surge come out. Doesn't find anything, but gives them a bit of help. Shocker finds one. We see On finds another onto the tank. Duckman does trade out, but On finds a second. And right now, Northeastern is in a bit of a spot because if they lose the next team fight, Miami is taking this game.
Yes. Miami is 1 team fight win away from taking this game and making it so they only need 1 more to go to the grand finals tomorrow. They have more percentage than Northeastern. They need to do everything they possibly can to win this team fight, and they still have Orbit. They are in such a good spot right now. Orbit comes out. Let's see what they can do. The overtime clock comes out. It's coming down.
The tank is gone. The tank is gone. You see Blade. Can it stay alive? No. 2 are gone. Keep it going. Keep it going. Shocker gets one. Keep it alive. Miami.
They've done it.
Has taken another game over Northeastern. The reverse sweep is in the picture.
Oh my goodness. They only need 1 more. Miami, where has this come from? They have taken 2 games off of Northeastern. This is huge for them. They just need 1 more. Can they do it?
I am at a loss for words. Northeastern, what is happening right now? You are at such a large advantage. You took game one practically 0 to 100 both times, except for the first one where you let them get 99. And then on push, you barely allowed them to get out of spawn. And now Miami has just taken 2 games in a row with what looks like little effort.
They have, yeah, they dominated. I mean, they did let Miami, I mean, Northeastern build up a few percentage, but it never looked like it was out of the equation for a Miami win. I mean, with this momentum, I think that they could take it. And like I said, they can be proud of what they've done already. Even if they don't complete the reverse sweep, I mean, they have done something that no one would have thought. I mean, going into this, I feel like so many of the predictions would have probably been 3-0, 3-1, and it's 2-2.
They need one more. They have the momentum backing them up. They have the entire spectators backing them up. They have their coaches, their teams backing them up. The dream is alive. Everyone in the chat, the dream is alive for Northeastern to be knocked out of this conference in the losers finals.
I never would have expected it. I honestly wouldn't. I think that Miami could do it. I mean, I think there's a chance. I mean, we have seen them take 2 games now to 2-2, and they dominated the last time they went 2-2. And now it's a bit of a different story. Last time, they were 2-2 against Kent, and they pretty much dominated Kent there. But this is Northeastern. Northeastern is gonna have to lock in here. I mean, this
What?
would not be the ideal outcome.
Okay, so next one has to be hybrid, I think. Is that the only thing they have available? I don't know what the tiebreaker is. I think it's hybrid because there's 5 game modes.
It's not hybrid. I think it is hybrid.
Yeah. Which, I mean, while they were able to take a lot on Escort, if Northeastern is allowing Miami to put up as much of a fight again, it's possible that Miami goes to the Grands.
It is possible. I mean, it is. If Miami can just hold them to not even let them get like cap like they did with Kent last time in hybrid, I mean, because that's what they did game 5 with Kent. And now, obviously, is Northeastern going to let them do that? It's very unlikely, but they could. They
It's
could.
possible.
Miami could hold to the point where Northeastern can't even take anything, and they could go all the way, and that would be amazing to see. I
Right
mean,
now,
honestly.
yeah, Northeastern does get to pick the map again. I believe Miami, that means they get to pick the side. So we'll see what ends up happening if sides even matter. Because if it goes back to like control again, sides don't.
Yeah,
The map is mirrored. But if it is hybrid, this could spill the end for NEU.
It could. If it is hybrid, I think that would maybe be the best case scenario. I mean, because I think it has to be hybrid because
There's only 5 game
there's only
modes.
5 game modes, and
I mean,
we've played
there's
4.
more, but there's not. There's only I think there's only 5 in
Actually,
competitive.
it'll be deathmatch. Well, they'll do deathmatch. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. All right, going to
So
bracket here. I guess we can see the craziness that this is.
yeah, I don't. It's unbelievable
I mean, look at
how
this run.
how hard Miami is pushing back right now. They do not want to be knocked out of this bracket.
I mean, this was all today. I mean, look at this run that they've had: 3-0
Yeah,
against BGSU, 3-2 against Kent, and now 2-2. Going into the final game against NEU, the number 2 seed that has the only team to take a game off of Ball State, and they've taken 2 games off of them.
yeah. The only other team to take a game off NEU was BGSU, the 6th seed, and they were knocked out in the losers' quarters. So Miami being able to do this in the losers' finals, the amount of pressure on them right now is outstanding. And the amount of pressure on NEU is outstanding. NEU cannot let this happen. And Miami is fighting for it as much as they can. And I am sure that if Miami does this, there's going to be a celebration that lasts until tomorrow.
Yes, it is going to be quite. I mean, NEU, they are in. I mean, they're the only people here in a win lose. I mean, obviously, if they win, that was the expected result, and if they lose, it's you lost to the underdog. You lost to the underdog. Whereas, like I said, Miami, they can just be proud of what they've done so far. I mean, even if they don't manage this, they have done something that no one really expected that they would do, and that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
they have done so well, and let's see what they can do.
Yeah.
I mean,
The upset that this would spill for NEU would be staggering
it'd
for
be crazy.
them. And I think that would put a little worry into Ball State,
Yeah.
seeing that the number 5 seed knocked out the number 2 NEU, the practically undefeated other than the Ball State game themselves. And what a sight that would be.
Yeah, I mean, that is showing to Ball State, whoever is the winner of this match is competitor tomorrow. Like, we are locked in, like we are ready, especially if it is Miami, Ohio. I mean, just the fact that they're there, they would be there was just so unexpected. It was not the expected result, and it is very impressive what they've done. So let's just see what they can do going into game 2. I mean, we can see them here.
Yeah,
I don't
know if we're doing a little break in between it or not, because it seems I'm not sure how long it will be until we decide what the map is, if NEU gets to decide a pause at all. I'm not entirely sure based on the rules that the teams are allotted. But I know we did a 5-minute pause in between games for the Kent and Miami game. But we're just kind of watching them. They're on a screen right here, so that's kind of how we tell if we're going into game soon or not, other than the voice in our ear. Okay, wow. So we are waiting an NEU map pick. So
yeah, I guess we don't really know what they're going to be. Do we know if it's going to
Kings Row? So it is hybrid.
It is hybrid.
Yeah,
and that is.
I guess that's fair to end on.
It's the one game mode left.
Yeah, it's also the one map that we've seen basically every game.
Oh, yep, of course it's Kings Row. I mean, it is one of my favorite maps in the game, but I've seen it so much today. And the thing about King Row that is scary, I think, for Miami, Ohio, is Ramatra is extremely good on Kings Row, and we have seen how good Frisco is at Ramatra.
But we've also seen how good the Orisa is.
Yeah, Orisa. Like, where did that come from?
I mean, like, Orisa, it basically has a nemesis form. Fortify with the perk is basically like a flea market nemesis, kind of, because with the perk, I think you gain 150 extra health on top of the 100 overshield. Or maybe it's 150 overshield or armor and 150 health added on. It's basically a nemesis form. It just doesn't last, I think, as long as nemesis. I think nemesis is like 8 seconds. I think
nemesis lasts a while.
I think fortify is 6. But in Orisa play, the amount of stagger that Orisa can put into a team, and the amount of separation that Orisa can bring to the table. If you separate the Ramatra from the healers, they have to pop Nemesis early.
Yeah.
And that's kind of their get out of jail free card. And if you can return that by then forcing all your damage into the Ramatra, well, all of a sudden NEU doesn't have a tank.
Yeah.
You can tell my voice is shot.
Yeah. I mean, mine's getting there. But I mean, using the spear and also the thing where she twirls the spear. I don't know the ability names very well.
I think it's just called spear spin.
Spear,
like spear throw.
Yeah, you can cause so much separation.
She also has a shield, but we haven't seen Miami use that.
I don't think I've seen anyone.
I have.
You have?
I've seen them use it.
All right, we are going to be getting into game. We do know it's Kings Row. Winner of this one goes to the grand finals tomorrow. Will it be Miami or will it be Northeastern?
I think Miami's starting on defense as Hedwig is playing that Widow, and Ducklin going for that Reaper, followed by, again, the Ramatra from Frisco and the Juno Lucio from Shiro and QG Hop. From Miami, though, we're seeing that Torbjorn once again, basically the same comp we've seen before. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. And if they can hold them here and then just get the third of the point you need, that one team fight win, what a showing that would be for Miami.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what a showing. I mean, if it, like I was literally going to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, this is the comp that they have found that for some reason has really made Northeastern struggle. So are they going to be able to do it? Maybe get a quick pick off with the Widow here. Would be probably the first person we've seen do that so far as they make their way to the point. Will it be Miami? Will it be Northeastern? Who's going to make it to the grand finals tomorrow?
That's going to be the question. Frisco already a bit low, but doesn't pop the Nemesis. They are giving them a bit of space to work with, but On and Nitrous Oxide playing that high ground play, trying to take out the Lucio while they can. See if they can't find a good spot to do it. Push them off the high ground. Scooter in a bit of a spot, does have to back off. Ducklin goes for a bit of a deflect there off on the high ground, but if they can take Hedwig out early, yes, that puts Miami in a good spot to win this team fight. Can they get any more on the board? Ducklin and Shiro low on health, On and Nitrous Oxide able to take them both out. It looks like Miami has taken the first team fight as Nitrous Oxide cleans up on QG Hop and Frisco is forced to retreat.
Taking the first king, winning the team fights at this first spot in King's Row is so critical because just it can be so hard to cap with this team fight, and it's so strong on defense here. And the fact that they're doing it is very impressive. So let's see if they can keep this up. They've gotten such great picks, great uses of the anti from nitrous oxide. Let's see if Miami can keep this momentum up.
The question is, will they be able to take out that Pharah early on? And is Frisco going to decide to try and focus fire on those high ground players? If they decide to do so, then they leave the rest of their team a little bit wide open. Nitrous Oxide able to take one onto Duckwin early on. That's a good start for the Miami team. Can they keep it up? The Nemesis form does come out as we see Frisco go for a bit of a retreat once again and regroup with their team. Miami now in a good spot themselves. Ult flies as they come in on closing in on 3, it looks like, as Orbital Ray is the furthest away, but closing in as well.
Northeastern has not even put a foot on point yet. They haven't even gotten close to capping this. Miami is playing amazingly right now. They're doing such a good job at holding them to this. And yeah, you're right. They have an ult advantage already. And yeah, Northeastern is getting there, but they have 2 support ults.
Frisco able to take out the turret. Does scare the rest off. Nemesis form is going to be popped. You see, out comes the Nano. Hedwig is able to find one under Nitrous Oxide. Duckwin finds one under Shocker as well, which means Northeastern might have a chance to bring this one back if they can't keep it going. They do have Orbital Ray, but it seems like Miami is going to back up and maybe have a chance to combat this once again on the point, or just give it to Northeastern altogether.
They might just let Northeastern have it, but they held them for such a long time. Capping with less than 2 minutes left, I mean, that's pretty good for Miami. They held them.
They might try to go for it.
They might try. They might try.
Out comes both Orbital Rays. This is going to be a long fight. Out comes Terra Surge, but a good Suzu takes it away. Kiriko does send out that Kitsune Rush. Hedwig finds one under Shocker as well, as Shiro finds one under Booter Scooter. And Northeastern do have the first payload, but they held them for quite a while.
Yeah, great stuff. I do think that Kitsu was a bit of an overcommit. This is a fun camera angle right here. Look at the payload making its way out. But I think that I don't think they needed to use that Kitsu Northeastern did. They still have 2 ults, and Miami has one. They're not really close to any other one. Shocker does decide to switch to Echo here. Flying characters are quite good on this map. So let's see what can Miami do? Can they continue to defend this well? And Northeastern, are they going to be able to continue to push this all the way?
Yeah, as nobody is able to contest past this choke point, Northeastern's just kind of holding them here. They've got to get past it eventually and contest that Sojourn up on high, but if they can do so successfully, they should be able to put a stop to the cart's push and force that support to come off of the cart and help their team in general. We'll see what ends up happening with Shocker trying to combat the Pharaoh right now. Can they take them out? They do, giving Miami a good shot at taking this point back for themselves. They've got to keep their Orisa alive, keep them in this fight right now, but it seems like most of Northeastern is falling back just a little bit. The Orisa in a good spot here to try and combat this. On is in a bit of a predicament as they are being chased, and now the Baptiste is being chased as well. We do see Frisco get a little flank on a Nitrous Oxide. Can they keep it up? Hedwig gets 1, Hedwig gets 2, and now the rest of Miami slowly falls as there's no support for their name, and down goes Orisa.
But critically, they still did hold Northeastern there quite a while. They are close to hitting this first checkpoint. Miami does almost have all of their ults. The farthest one is the Orbital Array. And they are almost there, but then again, Northeastern is also quite close to having quite a few of theirs. They do not have Annihilation anywhere near. So they are in a good spot right now. This corner is such a good spot on defense to hold, especially when you're playing Orisa. So let's see what they can do.
Out comes the overclock. Can they keep it up? The Pharah in a bit of a spot themselves. Can they take her out early? Yes, they do. Give themselves a good advantage here. Nemesis is used early as well. Not sure if that needed to come out just yet. Once that goes away, Orisa's going to be in a good spot to try and take down Frisco. On full health, though, Hedwig sends overclock themselves. Window comes out, as well as Kitsune Rush. It's just going to be a battle of the ults right now. See if they try to go around the corner. We see Terra Surge try to delay the push just a little bit. Barrage from Duckwin is on its way. We see Orbital Ray also active and ready to go from Miami. I think we see Echo use her ult on Shocker, so we also could see an overclock come out as well. On, takes out Duckwin mid-ult. Can they hold them here? That is the question. The lamp goes, but they've got to keep it up. Can they keep this fight going for as long as they can? They've got to try and take out somebody. Focus fire. The Sojourn did a bit of a spot. Can they do it? Maybe focus fire onto the support as she's stuck in that wall. It does get teleported out, but it seems like Northeastern is going to back up just a little bit.
Yes, time for the shooter. Don't overcommit. Don't overcommit. You're going to want to back up a little bit there. There you go. Holding Northeastern pretty well here. Less than a minute Northeastern has to push it. They don't have to push it very far. But can Miami keep this up? They have lost Shocker, which is not great for them, and the Annihilation is going to come out.
There is isn't much they can do. On does find one though. Shiro gets one on the nitrous oxide as the lamp goes. Frisco finds another, and it seems like they are going to be able to push this cart to the end if the Orisa can't keep this up. She is going to fall. Northeastern still trying to fight for this point as Miami is trying to hold it as long as they can. Shockers take it out, and Northeastern is going to get this point, but all they have is a minute 45 to work with.
And that is not easy. I mean, that one corner right there, you can hold for so long on defense, and only a minute 40 to do so. This can take quite a while. If they can hold Northeastern to 2 here, as long as they can manage to build some momentum and push next round, they could take it. So let's see how Miami handles this. They do have some ults to use, and see if they use them right.
Yeah, we have Kitsune Rush as well as Overclock from the Northeastern side. We have the map window as well as Overclock from Miami. Who's going to get the first kill with Overclock, or any going to come out at all? We're seeing Orisa trying to fight for this point right now. Hedwig doesn't find anything. We see Kitsune Rush come out as well. Are they going to be able to fight for this for long? They got to get rid of the Kitsune Rush. The window comes out. So does the Terror Surge. It's not going to find anything. Hedwig in a bit of a spot is taken out. Can Miami hold this? They've got less than a minute left to go. Some ults have been used. The orbital ray is out from both sides sooner rather than later. Are they going to use them during this fight, or are they going to save them? As time ticks down, there's only 45 left, and Shiro is able to take out the turret, but the majority of Northeastern is having trouble fighting this. And I believe both orbital rays come out, delaying this fight even further. Frisco finds one into On in the middle of it. Shocker finds one under Frisco. The tank is gone, traded for one of the DPS. Can they keep it going? Killian finds one under Ducklin. Can they keep it alive? 25 seconds left to go.
What a spear there also by Peter Scooter, forcing Kiriko back. 20 seconds left. Northeastern, if they want to push this all the way, are going to have to win this next team fight here. Now with 10 seconds left, they are really going to have to push to win this next team fight. They do have an ult. They're about to have 2. Maybe they could do it, but either way, the overtime clock's coming out.
Yeah. Probably going to see Blade come out here shortly, as well as Annihilation. What is going to come out of this? The Tier 3 turret is available, as well as Molten Core. It does go out, but he is taken out instead. Orisa, low on health, is going to fall as well. They're going to have a chance to refight this point, because they're just working with as much as they can. If they can just regroup in spawn, they have a chance to bring this back with the BAP ult, as well as Terra Surge, but they don't have too much in terms of support ults other than the BAP window. So right now they're going to have to fight for this as much as they can, and all Northeastern's got is Blade as well as Overclock and Kitsune Rush on the horizon. But if they can fight them before that comes out, I wonder what we're going to see. The Blade does come out. It finds one. Can it find any more before he's taken out? The lamp comes out as well. Overtime is slowly ticking down. Can they keep him moving? Yes! They don't get to 3! Wow, Miami's got a chance.
Not getting to 3 with 0 seconds left. That is actually huge for Miami. They actually have a chance. They did not get to 3. They don't need to push it all the way. They just need to get to 2.
Basically.
They just need to get there. I mean, it's right there,
yeah,
as we see. They pushed it quite far, but just not there. Not quite. And they did it with 0 time left on the clock. Miami's in this. Miami is in this.
This is going to be close. If Northeastern is not able to hold them at key chokes and let Miami push far and get a lot of time on the clock to work with, I think Miami has got a chance to bring this one back. And as we look at the comps, they are very similar, other than On playing that Widowmaker on high to try and get some picks early on. We'll see if anything can be found before I expect them to go back to Sojourn.
Now, personally, Pretty Scooter, I would not play Winston here. I'm assuming he's trolling. I'm assuming he's trolling on the Winston, unless he is actually going to roll out on that dive comp. I don't think that's what you're going to want to do, especially on defense. Yep, I was right. Switch back to Orisa. Yeah, definitely a troll pick. On is going to switch to Soj pretty fast. Might switch back to the Widowmaker. It's kind of hard to tell who they're actually going to run out looking at the screen, because they like to do troll picks on each other.
This means everything. If Miami could get this all the way, then they've got a spot in the Grand. The dream is alive. They've just got to push harder. They've got to push longer than Northeastern did to get this through to the end. And we're going to see who's able to find the first picks out in this fight. A good headshot from Torbjorn, since Shiro low. Can they keep it alive? Can they find a pick? The turret does fall. Who is going to get this first pick? It's undeniable that it's going to be somebody eventually, but who it's going to be is a question for the ages, because it could mean who gets this first point faster.
Every single team fight is so drawn out between these two teams. I mean, we've seen a stalemate for so long here. Still not a single kill. Miami kind of maybe looking like they might take this alternate route. Maybe that will help them out in grabbing this first point. They already have stayed alive, I think, longer maybe than Northeastern did. They do find that first pick, which is unfortunate for Miami, but they have something.
Yeah, they're slowly starting to capture it. I don't know if it's going to go in their favor. Killian is taken out as well. I think Miami's going to have to regroup, but they've still got 3 minutes to work with, and they've still got a chance. They've just got to push them back, keep them from staggering even more. And I wouldn't say pushing into this is a great idea from the Orisa. I would try to regroup with my team, but now they're staggered up just a little bit more, and they've got to try and bring this one back. Maybe some ults could make the difference for Miami.
Yes, it is still very much a stalemate. Northeastern got that early pick, gave them that first advantage, but it's not over for Miami. They still have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to try and grab this first cap and try to push all the way, see if they can do so. So let's see if they can make a change here. They do have some ults to use. Let's see how they use them.
Window comes out. Can they take the Genji out early? Kitsune Rush does come out as well. The healing and damage is going to be through the roof for the Northeastern team if they can just keep the fight alive. Soldier not there just yet. Genji takes out the turret, does have Blade in their back pocket if they decide to use it. Here it comes. Can they keep him alive? He is quite low. Not able to find anything. Does fall, but it is traded off by Frisco. Annihilation comes out. Q-Hop finds one. Is any more going to be found? Annihilation still going. The Fortified not able to keep Scooter alive. Shiro finds another on. Is able to trade onto Shiro, but Hedwig and Frisco are able to take out the rest of the Miami team. That did take a few ults from Northeastern, however.
Yes, Northeastern is definitely playing like they are about to lose what they thought was their guaranteed spot in the grand finals right now. And it's still not over for Miami. They have ults. The orbit's going to come out. Let's see what they can do with this here.
Both satellite vectors come out. The turret does fall. You see both overclocks. Or no, sorry, one overclock. Now the second one comes out. On, able to find one under Shiro. Duckman falls. Duckman gets one. Shocker gets one. Hedwig gets one. Scooter gets one. It's even across the board right now. Or sorry, no, it's a 3-2 right now. Can they keep it alive? The Nemesis comes out, pushing them off the cart. They are slowly gaining this point. They've got to try and contest it with what they've got right now if they want to stop them. And I'm expecting them to try and hold this as much as they can because they're waiting for their team to come back. Molten Core comes out on the field. We're going to see who is able to hold this longer. Can they push them off the cart or off the point long enough for them to capture? They're trying to. Are they going to contest it? We see one go out. The rest of them fighting on the point now. Can they just take this? It's still contested. They've got to keep it alive. Is Genji going to fall? No. Keeps alive. Scooter finds one. Keeps the streak going. Can they make the rest happen? Scooter finds one. They're trying to find one into Kiriko. Fisco does find one, finds two. They did, however, get the cap.
I didn't even see it happen, but they did manage to get the cap. That's what they needed. They have 3 minutes out. Basically, they get a nice reset here. Try and just push that thing. As they have the time. They get a bit of a reset. That's good. If they did not want to be held to that would be such a horrible way to go out, not even getting that first cap. So let's see what they can do here. Northeastern is about to have a little bit more ults than them, but they have the time.
They do. Nemesis does come out a little bit early. Can they push him away from his team? Can they take him out? Kitsune Rush comes out to try and save him. We're seeing a lot happen. The deflect goes out. Can they take Genji out before anything happens? Kitsune Rush is going to run out as Miami tries to go for a bit of a fallback here. The turret does end up falling, but Miami is ready to push back into this after Kitsune Rush is gone with some power of their own. A bit of plays on high ground means that they've got to watch out for it. We are going to have Annihilation at the ready. Can they take them out? Hedwig finds one into On. They've got to keep fighting for this. Try to get a pick of their own. And right now, Hedwig in a good spot to try and fight this out. Terror Surge might happen. Might come out here. Genji up on high. Does have Blade almost at the ready. Seems like Hedwig, Frisco does find one onto Scooter. The turret falls once again. And they're just going to try and stagger Miami as much as they can.
Yeah, Northeastern has a lot of ults here. Miami has some of their own to try and use. They're about to have all 5. Duckman does also pick off Shocker there, so it's going to be a huge ult battle next time. Miami, they might want to get a bit of a move on here. They're under 2 minutes now. They're still in it. They just need to win this next team fight.
Yeah, they've got to try and take the tank out early. They can take the supports away from them. They have a chance, but it's really hard to kill a Nemesis form Frisco while they are blocking. So if Miami's going to do anything, got to do it now. Terror Surge comes out. How much are they going to find? Nothing just yet, but they still have a chance. Blade comes out. Are they going to be able to find anything? Duckman finds one. Hedwig finds one. Shocker finds one. The trades are coming in and out here. Are they going to be able to keep this going? Is Are we going to see Booter Scooter fall? It's going to be a question for the ages. We do see Booter Scooter get one. Duckman taking out the turret. Can they keep Booter Scooter alive? No. Shiro finds one, and so does Frisco. And Miami, once again, is going back to spawn.
Yes, Miami, they now are in a territory where they do really need to win this next team fight. They have less than a minute left to try and get to that checkpoint. They can do it. They are playing to stay alive here, but Northeastern definitely locked in here. They know that they should not be this close to losing their spot, and they are playing like they know that.
Right now, Kiriko doesn't have that teleport ready. We see the orbit come out from one side. Kiriko does fall. They've got to keep it going. We see Frisco fall as well. They're in a good spot here. They've just got to keep them going. Hedwig is able to take out one, but Shaka returns the favor on to Hedwig. Mattress Oxide takes down Ducklin. They've got a chance to push this to the next checkpoint, but they've got to keep 3 on the cart. And they've got to also build some momentum themselves and keep it going if they want a chance, because they do indeed have that chance.
They have a chance, but they've definitely made it harder for themselves with it taking that long to win those team fights here. They're going to have less than, the overtime clock will definitely be coming out here, and they're going to have to keep a lot of people on the cart and push it as far as they can. They have to win these team fights as well as not getting on the cart. They do not want to C9 this, but they do have ults. Let's see how it's going to go.
Core comes out, Overclock comes out, Annihilation seems to follow. Can they take him out during Overclock or during Annihilation? It's going to be a question for the agent. Can they do it? He is going to fall, but Hedwig finds 2 in return. They've got to stay on the cart if they want to keep pushing it. Shiro's able to find one. The Terror Surge comes out, but it's not going to find anything. Maybe it will actually onto the Genji. Duckman finds one, and it's just the Orisa left alive, and Miami's dreams are crushed as Northeastern is moving on to the Grands.
There it is. The underdog came out swinging. Northeastern responds. It's going to be a Ball State Northeastern Grand Finals tomorrow. So close, Miami. But sadly, Northeastern kind of realized that they probably shouldn't have let that go 2-2.
What a game. What a set. What a bracket. We are seeing the number 1 versus the number 2 tomorrow, but what a fight from Miami. They took it as far as they could, and unfortunately it didn't work out for them, but they tried their best, and wow, their best was so close to what they needed. It was on the brink of the grand. It's unfortunate to see the underdog not get a chance at the titan that Ball State is, but we're going to see that NEU versus Ball State game as we go ahead and pull up the bracket here.
Yes, what a story it would have been for Miami. So close, but unfortunately just not their year. Yes, this is what you are going to see tomorrow. Ball State Esports versus NEU Esports. A very familiar matchup here. Is NEU finally going to be able to defeat Ball State in the 2025 season? That's the question that's going to be answered tomorrow. Winner is the champion.
Yeah. Other than that, though, I want to go ahead and say again, thank you to everybody in the Twitch chat, everybody in person, all of the production staff, the observers, the TDs, the VDs, anything else I'm forgetting the name of, the casters who were here. Thank you all for showing up and putting on an absolutely incredible show. Thank you for Miami, Ohio for hosting this. And we will see you one more time tomorrow for League Grands and Overwatch Grands. But that is Turner, also known as Spooky Hands, signing out along with
Wyatt, also known as Libby Baby.
And thank you for watching.